So here we are on Monday night, and our first night with our new and latest willing victim regional consultant, Janet James. We had a great call last night. I had a lot of great comments about how well the call went, especially with some of the invites for some of the business owners. So I'm very excited to see how they went. But first of all, what we need to do is to bring Janet onto the call. So regional consultant Janet James, are you there, my lovely?
Yes, I'm there.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Well, here we are, first night. And I know you're waiting to go into the business presentation up in Sherman, which is a relatively new business presentation, I believe. I think you were just telling me that executive consultant Jared Abshire and Doug Parker are up there. And we want to encourage everybody who's listening to this to get out to that business presentation to help build it. How long has it been going there, Janet?
I think this is our third month.
Third month. And I would imagine that it's still quite small, right?
Yeah, it hasn't really. It's just a baby.
Yeah, cool. All right. So those of you who are listening on the call and really want to kind of, if you're wondering where there is a business presentation that's near you and you're kind of in the Sherman area, then there you go. There is a business presentation there. And when you have the caliber of executive consultants like Jared Abshire and Doug Parker, that's going to be a great business present to take your guests to. So guys, get yourself along to the Sherman business presentation. Hopefully I'll get, if they like me enough, maybe they'll invite me to go and close out the meeting one day. I'd like to do that very much. But for now, let's talk about your first day, Janet. How did everything go today?
Well, I got up this morning, and it's really knowing that I had to write down, because I had not had my invitations written down. So I just really sat there and really wrote it down. But I knew that tonight I was going to have to give you accountability. And so I got up and did something, which that's the great thing about being the victim is you got to get up and do something so you can report something.
Yes, you do. Oh, I can be very mean, too. I can be very mean.
That's okay.
Okay, so good. So you got some invitations done and written down. Did you see that I posted the recording of the call for you?
No, I didn't see that, but I'll go back and look for it.
Yeah, it's up on the EC Writers Facebook page. So the Sunday night call with you, Janet, is up there. So for those of you who are listening in, if they want to hear how that call went, and it was particularly good. It was a great call, and especially for the invites for the business owners. So do listen into that. But that's up there for you if you needed, Janet, to revise some of your invitations. But that's if you need it. Cool.
Okay.
All right. So you wrote your invites down today. So we're aiming to get 2 invites done a day, and then obviously the accountability call, which you've scored 100 points on so far because you called me right on time as we planned. So that's great. But how did the calls go?
Well, I did get a hold of somebody I had just been thinking about, a friend who, my husband was the ministry leader at Cottonwood Creek Church 6 years ago and singles ministry. And so I did call him on the phone and talk to him today.
What's his name?
And his name is Darren Aulick. And he at the end, he said, well, I've never done anything like that, and I'm not a very good salesman. And I said, that's okay. And then I asked him, would you just meet me for coffee? And because I just love to show you what we're doing in case, you know someone that you might refer us to. And he goes, well, I'm just not ready right now. And so,
okay. So let me ask, do you mind if I ask you some pretty direct questions?
Sure.
Yes. How did he know how to react to the business if you were just inviting him?
Well, I had kind of Facebooked him a little bit about it, private messaged him.
Okay.
So he knew.
Okay, so all right, so because I was just a bit concerned that over and above the invite, you got dragged into a bit of a presentation on the call.
I might have, probably. Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. Well, and again, so for those who, first of all, we absolutely do not want to get dragged in to a presentation on the call because that reaction is very, very typical. Very typical. When you're just getting it, like literally a glimpse through the curtain at something, no matter how wonderful it is, if you're just getting a little glimpse of a tiny corner of it, you cannot make any judgment. And if he's thinking, oh, this is like one of those businesses, then one will jump to a conclusion. And the irony is that he said he was a pastor, right, at Cottonwood?
No, he's not a pastor. He just was in our singles group.
Oh, okay. Oh, yes. Yes, I remember you telling me about that. Okay. The point is, though, that, things like, I'm not a salesman, all of those types of things. We hear those types of things all the time, but we don't want to be hearing them in the invitation. If we're hearing them in the invitation, we've done the invite wrong. It's because he knows too much about the business to be able to make a judgment like that. And so what I would suggest you do is to go back to the kind of the basics is, first of all, be in a hurry. Second, talk about your why with you and Rick, and about, you've got a business project started, and you'd love him to take a look for a couple of reasons. First of all, because you'd like him to know what you're doing. This business is about networking, and you'd very much like him to take a look at it, to be able to give you, referrals or whatever. But also, Darren, it may be something that could be of interest to you as well. It may or may not be your cup of tea, but I'd love you to take a look, again, even if it's just to be able to refer us. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. He knows nothing about the business to be able to make a judgment. And so, but the great thing is that because at the end of the day, what's our goal? Our goal is not to get him to join. Our goal is to get him to look. Once he's looked, and then he says, this just isn't my thing, or I'm just, I just don't want to do it, and blah, 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 and you've got him on a three-way call, and he's just like, this isn't my thing. That's fine. But unfortunately, Darren has now made a decision on something he's not even seen.
Right.
And, that's like, fixing someone up on a blind date, say, hey, I've got this, from a guy's perspective, hey, I've got this girl I'd love you to meet for dinner. And you're like, okay. And you're a little bit nervous. You say, nah, I'm a little bit nervous or whatever. And he's just turned down, Miss America. She just is stunningly beautiful, very smart. But he doesn't know. He never saw her. He never met her. And even if, one describes her, it's still not going to be good. So what we want to do is not get into a situation where we're describing the business in the invite. So again, and the way around that, because sometimes, obviously, Janet, one's a little nervous and one, is not sure how to do it. But if you stick to the 5 basics, then you won't get dragged into a presentation. The only way, so you've got being in a hurry, using your why. Rick and I are approaching retirement age. We've started new business projects, working really, really well in the DFW area. And we're very excited that it'll probably fulfill all of our retirement needs. And Darren, I want you to take a look. Obviously we've known you for a few years through the singles club stuff. Now, I'd love you to take a look because I just want you to know what we're doing. Very important that people... it's a network-based company where we need to know lots and lots of people. Love you to show you what we're doing. And you can refer us to people. But secondly, Darren, this may be something that you want to do. I don't know if it's going to be your cup of tea, and that's fine. But I'd love you to take a look. Again, even if it's just to refer us to other folks.
Okay.
There's nothing in there where he can judge whether he's a salesman or not. The only risk is that he says, what is it? And that's where, I think I mentioned on the call last night, that's where being in a hurry is your best savior. Is to say, well, Darren, as I said, I'm just about to go into, like you are right now, I'm just about to go into the business presentation. I'm really pushed for time. I don't have time to get into it, and that's why I wanted to make an appointment. So is Friday good for you at the Starbucks? So you've told him nothing. You've postured. You've given him a nice, big, fat doorway out. If he's not interested, it may or may not be your cup of tea, and Darren, that's perfectly fine. And I'm telling you, if you take that approach, you'll have the same kind of results that Dana did, Javier did, Beth did, Christy did. They were getting like 9 and 10 opportunities to show the plan because they stuck to the 5 things. Does that make sense, Janet?
Yes, it makes sense, and I think that's what I want to learn is to get better and listen to this call so I can go back and get better in the other ones.
Well, I really appreciate your vulnerability because that's what's going to help you. Because let me tell you this, if you just some very slight nuances in the invite can make this business really fun to do or really horrible to do. Because if you're inviting the wrong way, and getting dragged into a presentation, and you're constantly getting objections like, I'm not a salesperson, I don't have the money, oh, are you in one of those businesses, is this multi-level marketing, all those things, it doesn't take very long to get shots like that and you die, and it just becomes unpleasant. Whereas if you invite correctly, those shots are never fired. You'll still get one or two, but you'll learn how to deflect them. But the point is, if you invite right, you'll avoid them being shot in the first place. And this, in which case, Janet, that's our job this week. This week, I am going to take it on personally to make sure that I can help you make those very slight adjustments to help you get into an invite situation where you avoid the bullets like the one that Darren shot at you today.
Okay.
Fair enough? All right. Well, let's. Did you manage to make any other invites today?
No, I called Sherry Lewis, the one that she was interested, but she won't, I can't get her to answer the phone.
Okay, did you leave her a voicemail?
No, I didn't, because I wanted to be sure to know what to say.
Okay, in which case, perfect. Do you mind if I give you a little bit more coaching?
Sure.
Okay, all right, as I always believe in leaving a voicemail. And the reason being is because I want to, Sherry's name must not hang around for very long as a prospect. We either want to turn her into a consultant or purge her to someone we're going to call back in 3 to 6 months. But if one is always calling and never leaving a message, that name sticks around for too long and stops another new name coming down the pike. So This is how we deal with it. I would call Sherry and say, hey, Sherry, this is Janet. There's something I needed to give you, something I needed to talk to you about. Can you give me a call back? Click. That's call number 1. And basically what this is a rule of 4 calls. It's the 4-call rule, okay? And when I say 4, I mean 4. A lot of people don't understand what I'm saying because I don't pronounce my R's properly. It's the 4th call program. So that's call number 1. Call number 1 is just a quick message. Second one is, hey, Sherry, I left you a message earlier on, and you could do this the same day. You're going to assume she hasn't got the message. And you say, hey, Sherry, this is Janet. Again, I called you earlier on, left you a message. Something I need to give you, something I need to talk to you about. Can you give me a call, please? Click. That's call number 2. All right. Now we're going to assume she has not called you back. So we're going to now give it a whole day before you call her back. The third call is a concerned call. Hey, Sherry, this is Janet here. I left a couple of messages for you yesterday, and I haven't heard back from you, and I know it's unlike you to not to call back. I hope everything's okay. Again, this is Janet. There's something I need to talk to you about. Can you give me a call, please? Because I want a little bit of guilt in there. And I click, hang up. I want a little bit of guilt in there. I want her to call you, because if she's not calling you, she's being rude. And so I'm going to put a little bit of guilt in there and just say I'm a little bit concerned. So that's call number 3. Now we're going to leave it another full day. So this is now the 3rd day. 4th call. She's still not called you back. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do a couple of things. We're going to do one thing, but it's going to have 2 results. We're now going to basically take it away from her. Hey, Sherry, this is the 4th call, and you're leaving her a voicemail. Hey, Sherry, this is Janet again. I've left you a few messages over the past few days, and I've not heard back from you. I'm assuming you must be out of town or something's going on, but I don't want to, constantly be calling you. So this is my last call. When you get this message, can you give me a call back, please? Something I need to talk to you about. Thanks very much. Click. Done. Purged. He is purged for 2 to 3 months. She will either call you or she won't call you. Now, here's the reason why we do it. For 2 reasons. First of all is for you to maintain the power. If you're constantly calling someone and they're not answering, every time they do that, they're stealing a little bit of power from you. Do you remember back in the day when you were, a teenager at school and the boy wouldn't call you, or you were calling the boy and he wouldn't call you back, or whatever it was? Although I'm sure all the boys were chasing you. I know they would have been. But you know what I mean?
I don't know.
It's when you're waiting for that call back and it doesn't come through. Every time it steals a little bit of pain, a little bit of power from you. And we don't want that. So 4th call, we're taking that business back so that you maintain your own posture so they don't steal too much power from you. The second reason why we do it is because we want Sherry off the plate. We want to clean that plate so that we can bring a new name down from the written list. But Sherry's going to get purged after 4 calls, after the 4th call for 2 months, maybe 3, because she's not seen it. But we're going to pull her down and we're going to put her back into our list, and she'll come back again in 2 to 3 months. But we haven't got to that stage yet, but that's how to deal with the 4-call process, okay?
Okay.
So when you call her next time, it's just another voice. In fact, the next time you call her, it's going to be the first call because you didn't leave a voicemail last time.
Okay. That sounds great.
Okay. All right. So
yes.
What else did we manage to get done today?
Well, I called a friend that I was trying to get Rodney Haynes' phone number, who I used to work with, who I've talked to Ambit before, and she's actually a newly divorced person, and so she's going to meet with me. I really wasn't calling her, but she's going to meet with me. Her parents are coming in, and so she wants to share this with her parents, and she's going to meet with me the day after Thanksgiving, with her parents, to possibly show them the business, and then she's trying to get me Rodney Haynes' phone number.
Okay, I'm a little confused there. It started with Rodney, then it turned into a friend,
okay.
and so I'm a little confused.
Okay.
So Rodney was on our list. Who was the friend?
The friend is Elsie that I used to work with, and Elsie did Rodney's hair. So I called Elsie up to check with her to see if I could get Rodney's number, and through the conversation, she told me, I was telling her just how my business is going, and so she said, well, I'm going to give you my father's number. He's really good at this, and could you meet us the day after Thanksgiving and show this to us? And I said yes.
Is Elsie in your business? She's not an Ambit person, right?
Right. She's just a friend that I used to work with, yes.
Okay, well, good for you. What you just did then was the perfect reactive invite. Alongside our proactive invites, which is the ones, the 10 names that we're going to call this week, if there's an opportunity during the week to be reactive, like you were with her, then by all means invite them to come and take a look at the business. Like, for example, when we were doing this call with Dana and Christy, both of them actually got more than 10 calls in. And in fact, same with Michelle, because not only did they do their top 10 names, but they got these reactive calls in as well. And that's perfect. You did a great job in switching that, and telling her how your business is going. She knew you were in Ambit, and that's a great opportunity you're going to show the parents. So, yeah, that's fantastic. And you've actually made the appointment, right?
Right. The Friday after
you could have two potential prospects there, one in Elsie and one in her mom and dad.
Right, exactly.
Good for you. Who's a clever girl? In fact, you know what? I've got some sticky gold stars here. I'm going to go and stick that onto your notes here. You got a gold star. Well done.
Okay.
How long has it been since you got a gold star?
When I used to go to church and Sunday school.
There you go. There you go. I'm taking you back a couple of years. That's great. That is really good. Well done. And did you actually get Rodney's number as well?
She's getting it for me, and then I'm going to call him, and actually, because he's really buddies with her, that might be a good thing too. You've got a home meeting
right there. You've got a perfect home meeting. Why not say, look, when you call Rodney, we can now kind of change that and say, he's, I know he's, he was a football player or something, a big-time business owner, landscape business, right?
Yes.
Yeah. When say, look, I'm getting together with Elsie for to show her a business that I've been working on, and there's going to be a few of us there. I'd love you to come along and see what we're doing. I would absolutely try to turn that into a home meeting. If you're not comfortable with that, by all means, we can, do it as 2 separate invites. But if Rodney's really close with Elsie, then hey, that could be, Elsie could get her 2 personally sponsored right there, one in her parents and one in Rodney.
Right. Yes.
But that's a good job. Good job. That is really good. All right. Did you manage to get anything else done today? Not that you needed to. You've already got 2 invites in, but did you manage to get anything else done?
Right. I'm trying to really perfect my invitation because that's where I'm struggling, but I'm going to go back and listen to these calls and critique them and try to get better.
Okay, cool. And that's a very good investment of time. But the thing to do is, as you're reading them, just say, am I sticking to the 5 guidelines? Or am I getting dragged into just nervous chat? Or am I getting dragged into things that are not relevant? Remember, the purpose of the invite is to get them to look at the business, not to get them to join. So all you want to do, so if you get your mindset right, that actually helps the invite. I don't care if you join or not. If I was talking to you, Janet, I'd say, Janet, truly, I don't care if you join or not. I just want you to take a look. And if you, and I really mean that. And there's been situations where I've actually taken the business away from people because they just say, you mean, I had one guy say to me, you mean I've got to sit and talk to someone for an hour as to whether he's going to be interested in this business or not? And I said, you know what, this probably isn't for you. And I took it away from him.
Yeah.
So if you're not emotionally, and that's easy, when you're EC, it's much easier to do than when you're RC. I get that. I remember being RC, and I wanted every person I spoke to join my business. But once you get to the position where you can be like, I don't care if you join or not, your whole demeanor, your whole posture, and your invite will change. So yes, absolutely sit and work on those invites and truly be honest with yourself. Am I sticking to the rules? Am I in a hurry? Am I sticking to my why and their why? Is the hook a good hook? Again, to qualify what the hook is, that's my excitement about the business. This means Rick and I are going to be able to retire with all of our retirement funded. That's a great hook, especially for people our age, Janet. Then
awesome.
A really good takeaway, listen, this may or may not be your cup of tea. And sometimes I'll repeat the name. This is a small nuance. Like if it was you, Janet, I'd say, Janet, I want you to take a look at what I'm doing because it may be something you'd like to do with me. But let me tell you, Janet, and this is important, I want you to understand it may or may not be your cup of tea, and that's perfectly okay. You can hear I'm really kind of posturing that and drumming that home. Not only is there a doorway out, but there's a butler there waiting to guide you out with a nice cup of tea waiting for you as well. It's such a nice exit. When you do that, people trust you more and will listen more and not feel pressured in any way. Now, I know there are a lot of leaders out there who are numbers game driven. Get them in. Always be closing. I do not believe that is necessary for an Ambit business. I believe it is necessary for some of the product-based businesses because they're so expensive, the products. I do believe that it's something that's necessary maybe to sell a second-hand car. But when you're offering someone a service that is less expensive than they're currently paying and an opportunity to start a business that's going to change their life for $75, you do not need to be hard pressure. So I absolutely leave a huge doorway open. Say, look, if this is not your cup of tea, Janet, please. That's no problem. You're not going to hurt my feelings. But what are you doing? But then I am intentional about closing the date. But what are you doing around 5:30 at the Starbucks? You've got the Starbucks just around the corner from you, so I can show you what I'm doing. So as you're going through your invites, if that's where you need to do your homework, look at your invites written down and see if you're following the guidelines. And if you want to send me your invites, if you've written them down, you want to send them to me during the day, I'll give them a look over and critique them and help them for you while we're going to do that, because that's what we're going to do this week. Our goal this week is for you by the end of the week. I don't care if you've got any opportunities to show the plan or not. I hope we do. And we will. And you've already got one with Elsie and her parents and Rodney. I care that you feel by the end of the week that you can put together a great invite to ask someone to just take a look at this business. If that's all we achieve this week, then I will feel very, very happy.
Okay. That sounds awesome. Sounds awesome.
Okay. All right. Was there anything else you wanted to chat about, Lovely?
No. It's stretching, but I want to do it because I want to get better and I want to have success in this business, and so that I'm willing to do whatever it takes.
Well, you've heard a lot of the leaders say all you need to do in this business is become a master inviter. And this call is going to help you. It's going to create the structure in your business. That's the definition of what we do on this call. But as a byproduct, we're going to teach you how to invite the perfect way, not only for you, but something that is then duplicatable for your downlines, for you to be able to coach them, because it's always the 5 guidelines. So we're going to get that done this week, Janet. Don't you worry. I'll take care of you, okay?
Okay. Thank you, Richard. Love you.
Thank you. Enjoy say hi to Jared and Doug for me, and have a great business presentation tonight, lovely.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye now. See you tomorrow.